Hello bearded bee people. Welcome back to Being KBs. Try to get my face out of the shadow. I'm hanging out with bees today. Today is May 12th, May 11th, something like that. It is a Wednesday. It's about 65 degrees out here. And I am doing some bee work, doing my first inspections of the year. Originally, and I had mentioned in other videos prior to this day, I had planned on being, ready to split today. The problem with that is, number one, it's going to be about 38 degrees tonight. And number two, I don't have cell builders set up, and I'm not in the mood, I'm not in the mindset to let nukes raise queens. So I need to set up a cell builder and get ready to create actual high quality queen cells before I start splitting these bees. And that mindset kind of gives me a more relaxed atmosphere for this first week into these colonies. I'm not splitting right now, I'm more doing assessments and spring cleaning. And so yeah, let's just get right into it. I have already done the colony that the smoker is on, because of the fact that when I got out here and I turned my GoPro on, I had an SD card error and it had to reformat, which took, man, like 20 minutes. So I went through that colony. There's not a whole lot going on. There's a smaller brood nest. I was able to reverse the boxes because they weren't doing much in the bottom box. But this one that I'm working on currently is a different situation. They are stacked. They've got drone brood, and they may or may not have some queen cells. I am prepared to take splits off today with boxes in the back of the truck. It's just not a goal of mine. So if I find queen cells, I find swarmy colonies, I'm definitely going to split them and do something with those boxes. But if they're not, then I'm not. And I will be back next week to get all of these colonies down to a single size, about 7 or 8 frames of bees, with a queen excluder and a honey super on top. So that is for next week. Today we are just doing some spring cleaning and assessment inspections. Okay, so like I said, this colony has a lot more going on than this one did in terms of brood, drone brood, possibly some queen cell situations. I'm not 100% certain. We are looking for confirmation on that. So we definitely have some queen cups going on here on the bottom, but I don't see any larvae in there, so not concerning so far. Lots of eggs and young larvae, and the brood food looks good. I had mentioned in a video in the past, a couple weeks ago, that I was concerned about whether or not I had a European foul brood in these bees because of the stress of moving them at the end of the winter. So far in the 2 colonies that I've gotten into, they look good. Brood food looks healthy. Nice frame of brood. Couple of big chunks of drone brood here at the bottom. Good looking frame of brood. Similar situation, just a good looking frame of brood. They are definitely getting ready for swarm stuff. You see this cup here in the center of the frame. I'm really having a hard time seeing what you guys can see. I do not have a tripod out here with me today, so that is the root of that problem. So yeah, they definitely are preparing queen cups, cleaning queen cups, and like I said, they've got a nice sort of extended one here in the center of this frame. There is nothing in it, but that will change here within the next day or so with it being warmer and lots of dandelions being out. They are definitely on the clock as far as the time until swarming. But I will be out here in less than a week pulling frames from all of these. I will take this double and get it down to about 7 frames of bees total. Okay, so this one's empty. A few eggs here and there, like they're just starting to work on these outside frames. And the adjacent one is honey. Okay, I'm gonna go grab another frame because I'm taking some honey frames for lighter colonies, so I have to grab an empty frame to replace that honey frame. Okay, so one cool thing that I am seeing, and I've seen in these 2 colonies so far today, are a bunch of broken open brood cells, or a bunch of broken open drone brood cells, and I have not seen any mites. This is the only visual inspection worth its salt in terms of for mites. Don't ever rely on seeing mites or the lack of seeing mites as a sign that you don't have mites, just because of the fact that they can be on any side of the bee and are normally on the underside of the bee. So your sight of them is usually a sign of a really bad mite situation. Now, when you break open drone brood, however, usually if there's a mite load that is... Oh my gosh, I just got stung on the lip. Usually, if there's a mite load that is worth being concerned about, you're going to see signs of that in broken open drone brood. So yeah, I'm happy to see these pearly white drone larvae with no red mite dots on them. Ugh. Just inhaled a bee and got stung on the lip, so I'm gonna pull this hood over. Okay, so we have brood in this bottom box, which means I am not going to reverse it. Even though there are a bunch of bees in this colony, if I were to reverse it and put this one on the top, the space on the bottom of this box that doesn't contain brood is going to be a space in between the brood areas. And what they want to do when the nights are cold is cluster all together around the total brood area. And if you separate those with a bunch of space, it's going to be problematic for them, and they're going to cluster on one or the other, letting the other area get chilled and cause a bunch of problems for you. So if you have brood in the lower box, it's not a good time to reverse boxes. It is a good sign, though, that they are moving down here. They don't usually like to move down, but given the space and no other space above, they will definitely do just that. So I'm not going to reverse the boxes. I'm going to take this box off the bottom board and clean off the bottom board if it's necessary. And then I'm just going to close them back up and be done with them. Bottom board looks pretty good. I'm not going to mess with it. All right, so in a normal situation, I would be adding a box. And if you encounter a colony like that at this time of year with dandelions on the ground right next to it, add a box. The reason that I'm not going to is because I'm going to come through in about 4 or 5 days to remove frames for splits. So why add the box just to pull it off largely empty later? But yeah, if I wasn't able to get out here for another couple of weeks, I would have to add a box, because at this time of year with these temperatures and the nectar starting to come in, that is the perfect recipe for a swarm. So yeah, if you are seeing a situation like this and aren't going to be removing frames in the next couple of days, add a box now. When in doubt, add it in the spring. That is a good general rule. So I'm going to continue working on this yard and make a few other videos, store them for the winter. So I'm going to cut this one off here. I am glad to be back in the bee yard. I will be making more videos tomorrow. Stay tuned, subscribe, all that. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about your own bees, leave them in the comment section below. I'd be happy to chat with you there. Otherwise, get out and have some fun with your bees. See ya.